Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is the day
Friday
we
with the
have
rib.
it. Yeah, but it's the day we have an afternoon show. This is
That's
like
right.
all new territory. Well, for all you early viewers that wanted to get your day in function, I apologize. I had to attend a memorial mass, and as we are obviously approaching Memorial Day, I think it's fitting that we did mention. I mentioned this before, but I went to Manny Cavallo uh, service at Beach Grove Cemetery in Westport. It was a lovely service. They had representatives from the Army. I don't know if it was Army Reserve or National Guard that did the flag folding. They had military honors at the end of the sermon. Um, Manny Manny was going to be 100 years old on October 19th. So
Wasn't
he's
he
nine.
one of the last of the World War II veterans in our area?
I think he is definitely one of the last. I saw one there that could be in that vicinity. We lost two on the same day. We lost Manny Cavallo, who was 99, and on Tuesday, Joseph Lima, who was 97, was going to be 98 on December 15th, one day before my birthday, the 16th, and he passed away. And he served on the fire department. I served with him for basically my entire career. He was a lieutenant when I got on the job, and then he actually was a lieutenant for me when I was a chief. I served with him at all ranks, but I will be going to that service on Tuesday. But Manny's was a very nice service. Had some veterans organizations were represented there. Um, it it was, a fitting tribute to a man who served in World War II, and he was in the Burma, China, India theater, which was a little known theater of World War II. But that's where we had Merrill's Marauders were in the Burma, China theater at one time, and a very famous unit. But Manny served from 1943 to 1946, and he served his country honorably. He worked for the city housing authority for 31 years, and men like that should be recognized, and Joe Lima too. Obviously, we'll talk about Joe uh, again on Monday, but Manny's service was a credit. Uh, it was subdued. It was about him and about his service and about all the men who served as we approach Memorial Day, and the priest did mention the fact that obviously, as we're approaching Memorial Day, it's even more significant. And it's significant that we recognize these people because we have heard retirees being referred to as liabilities. But these men were from the greatest generation. They served their country when their country calls. They were young once and soldiers and sailors. And it was my honor to be there. With that,
Well,
back to you, CJ.
yep. No, I was just giving us a little bit of pause so that people could understand that, and I think you're right. I think what you did was very appropriate. Although I know there were some people there, which will remain nameless, who were less than appropriate, for the lack of a better expression, and that's okay. That's up to them. For those of you who don't realize this, this weekend, not only is it Memorial Day, but at the cemeteries, yesterday, today, tomorrow, and I believe even Sunday, they are putting the flag on the veterans' grave. They've had a small turnout to do this. So you have one or two people doing all the work, for the lack of a better expression. I know Tim Gillette, who owns a mixed martial arts studio. He goes out every year. He's going out to Notre Dame Cemetery. He's asking for help. He'll bring the water, he said. A couple of Boy Scout troops are out there. They're going to be doing the same thing. So if you have some time and you want to give some respect to those that have served, go to one of the cemeteries and see if you can find the flag officer or somebody who's coordinating that. The city provides the flags. We just need the bodies to put them in. So please, if you have time, take some time out of your day. It's a rewarding experience. Now, I have to address something that I'm very upset about because obviously one of our viewers doesn't listen.
Just one?
Well, this one's beginning to bother me now because he turned around and he said that, oh, boo-hoo, we now have a trolley and a water taxi. The city's coming to an end. We did not say that. Okay? What I said specifically was the city used to have 3 trolleys and we sold them for dirt cheap money and they're in use in another state now. And we went out and spent $60,000 on a used trolley and another $17,000 on repairing it and upgrading it. And now we only have 1 trolley. That $77,000 could have been used to repair and refurbish the 3 that we gave away. People don't think. They don't think. Now, Chip, I got to ask you, do you remember how much the mayor said the trolley was going to cost? Do you remember that? Just out of curiosity. I remember him saying that the trolley was going to cost $5 for adults and free for those under 12. Now, I'm going to give you the real story. The ordinance that is being proposed by the dictator sets the standard trolley route ticket prices, adult ticket age 13 and older, $5. Child ticket age 12 and under, $2. Special trolley tours or event tickets, adult ticket, $30. Child ticket, $20. And then we've got trolley rentals, $1,100 for 8 hours, $600 for 4 hours. Each hour of rental time exceeding the base rental, up to 4 hours, $130 an hour. And if you want a black tie dress requirement for the trolley driver, you have to pay an additional $200. So once again, we're not getting the truth. Okay?
No, look, CJ, look, the whole thing is absurd. And I know you get frustrated, as do I. We point out these things to show you the insanity of the Fall River government, that even when they attempt to get tourism, they don't do it right. The irony is, you're talking about this, and this morning, while I was getting ready to leave for the service, I had my TV on, and I watched the local news when Newport and the mayor of Newport was announcing a free trolley. A free trolley.
Right.
To get tourism, to help the tourism and cut down on traffic. A free one. Not one that you're going to pay for. And where are they going to go? The Tennis Hall of Fame, Brick Alley, the mansions, all these great tourist attractions. Which then brings us back to a fact that why tourism should not be a major focus in Fall River, because we basically got nothing. How many times have we said we have Newport, which they wrote books about, the mansions, and we have the Cape, And we're in between the two of them. Where they're going to stop here to go see Lizzie Borden. That's a 3-minute stop. And they're going to pay. You see, communities with a lot of things to do know that if they're going to get these people in, and they're going to get a lot of people, they don't want their downtown areas and these areas loaded with traffic. So they're providing them with free trolleys. Again, somebody with a brain, a functioning brain. But as far as these individuals, CJ, you know me, I love quotes. I had to look it up so I'd get it exactly right. One of my favorite all-time quotes. Mark Twain, two of my favorites about the diapers and politicians. But to remind you what you're dealing with, this is Mark Twain, one of my favorite quotes from Mark Twain. Never argue with stupid people. They will drag you down to their level, then beat you with experience. There you go. Enough said. No matter what you say, they're not going to put it in context.
That's right.
They're not going to put it in context. It's just not going to happen. They're going to twist it and say, look at it. No. We had 3 trolleys. Why didn't we sell them if we wanted to have trolley service? Why didn't we fix them? Why didn't we have 3 trolleys? Because we don't have enough places to show people to have 3 trolleys. We don't even have enough places to show people with 1 trolley. This is not a tourist mecca, people. And that's up to the businesses. You want to market your business? Why aren't they paying for the trolley service to bring them to their restaurants and stuff? Have flyers. Newport. Go on I forgot, I think it was Channel 12. Probably going to be on again tonight. It was on last night, and it was on again this morning. And the mayor of Newport went down a whole list of the places, the mansions, and Newport's got a ton of stuff. Cliff Walk. You can go on forever about Newport. The Tennis Hall of Fame. They have a professional tennis tournament there every year. They used to have the America Cup races. We're going to compete with these. This is the line of crap they feed you. Another something that's going to save Fall River. Cut the ribbon, and Carol Fiola can have the vapors again. I can't believe how great we're doing in Fall River. Oh, this is going to be so wonderful for tourism. Really? Really? Yeah, this is me driving from Ohio. Co-pilot. We're coming into Providence, Newport area. What do we got to see here? Oh, Federal Hill on Providence, a lot of Italian food. Okay. What else? Oh, Newport. Oh, Newport. The Great Gatsby. That's where that book took place, the movie. Oh, Tennis Hall of Fame. Cliff Walk. Brick Alley. I mean, and then another 30 to 40 minutes down the road, Cape Cod, a place they make movies about. Bing Crosby singing about old Cape Cod. But let's stop in Fall River. What do we got in Fall River? Oh, we got
the Gilhoolies.
Yeah, we got a battleship. Okay. You can see battleships in a lot of places. And we got Lizzie Borden. But they made 3 movies about Lizzie Borden already. So, I mean, look. You want people to come to Fall River, you've got to actually have things to bring people to Fall River. Not a stupid boat from bar to bar or a trolley. You got to give them something. And you know something? That's up to the businesses. In these communities, businesses contribute to that because it helps their business. They provide advertisements of those trolleys. You go to any place traveling, you got flyers. I'm going to a seminar at the Cape in a couple of weeks. When I go into that hotel, there's going to be a whole list of brochures. Brochures for the restaurants, brochures for places to go see. They're marketing their own product. If our own businesses won't chip in and market their own products, and then again, let's get back to the bottom line, CJ. Even if you've got the greatest tourism industry in the country, or one of the best in the country, It's not going to fix your city if you got a shithead government that doesn't use the money correctly. What do we got for an example? Atlantic City. You go off the boardwalk of Atlantic City, the place was a pit, even when Atlantic City was booming. It's not anymore because they got gambling in Philly. But it's still doing okay. But what? They did a big expose on it. The government blew all the money on themselves in their other pet projects. They didn't reinvest it into the community. It's a ghetto. Miami, the greatest example in history. Miami has been one of the premier tourist destinations in the United States for decades. Decades. You've been there, CJ, Collins Avenue, the hotels on Collins Avenue.
Fontainebleau.
The Fontainebleau, that's right. The Fontainebleau, Collins Avenue, all the things in Miami, South Beach, all kinds of stuff. They got monkey jungles and all kinds of other stuff. And then you can drive 30 minutes down to Key Largo, Key Lime Pie. You want to go the long way, you can go all the way down to Key West. But Miami had one of the greatest it was one of the greatest tourist meccas in the United States. Yet, Miami was a shithole. High crime, poverty. Why? They've been making money there for decades, but they don't reinvest it in their own community. They get rich. They have a new mayor. They got a new mayor down there. I believe his name is Suarez. Began to reinvest in the community. Miami has now become a much, much better city to live in. Why? Because they took the money. It doesn't matter how much money you make. If you go piss it in a hole, it's not going to do the people who live in the city any good. If you don't reinvest it in the people who are paying the freight and paying the taxes, the city doesn't get better. See, that's far too logical. That's what I said. Don't argue with stupid. They'll weigh you down with their experience. And with that, back to you, CJ.
It always makes for an interesting conversation when we talk about potential ways to improve our place in the world, our place in the state, our place in the South Coast. Because we're looked at as being negative, when in reality, we're being factual. And if you don't like the facts, that's fine. Don't watch the show. Nobody says you have to watch us. You choose to watch us, and we appreciate it. But don't complain that you don't like the facts. Do I think we wasted the money on the trolley? Yes, I do. And the reason why I think they wasted the money on the trolley was that was $77,000 plus for one trolley. We had 3 trolleys before that, which we couldn't use because they were not usable, but we sold them to another state that are using them, and they dumped maybe $50,000 or $60,000 into it. Wouldn't it have made more sense fiscally to take the $60,000 and reinvested it in what we already had? Wouldn't that have made more sense? The thing that people are missing, and the thing that I think a lot of our viewers might be missing, is the fact that these are things we've done before. We've done them before, several times. See, back in the 80s, we had a draw in Fall River. The draw was the mill outlets. Buses used to come into this city for the mill outlets. Small restaurants survived on those buses coming into the city. They were generating income for people to work. People were able to work. They'd be working as salespeople. They'd be working as stock stock people. They'd be, doing some business owners, and the buses would come in, bring them in, let them go for an hour or two in one of the mill outlets. They'd all get back on the bus. They'd go to another mill outlet. They'd all get out there. I remember when the buses came in, Parker Candies. I know you remember Parker Candies. I loved Parker Candies. Parker Candies was wonderful. When that bus came in, that place was wiped out. They cleaned it out. That's when we had a draw. And what happened was the mill outlets started closing up because we no longer had the mills. So we couldn't get the products cheaper. I mean, for the longest time until the fire, the Fall River Knitting Mill still ran an outlet. I think it was called Darwood Clothing down on Anawan Street or Pocasset Street. They were in there and they were selling clothing, and people would go, and they were reasonably priced. Those were draws. Now what do we have to draw? Portugalio Restaurant, Sog's Restaurant, Portugalio Store, Sog's Restaurant, TA Restaurant, okay, Cavella's. You'll notice they're all Portuguese. Although I've heard a lot of great things about Fiorentina's down on North Main Street, and that's owned by Jordan Sylvia. So maybe Jordan couldn't make a good politician, but he sure as hell makes a good lasagna. So just think about that.
I'm gonna have to try. I'm gonna have to try that. I have to go down and see Jordan and try something down there. I've heard some reports about it, but listen, you're talking about this, CJ, but again, we get back to a very, very fundamental issue here. I don't care how much money you make if you don't reinvest it for the people that you serve. The city doesn't get better anyway.
That's right.
Look at all the money we've spent. Now, what has been done for the people? Has he held the taxes? Has he tried to stabilize the water? No. They just keep spending more money and we get nothing. He gives his friends pay raises, all his friends get rich, and this is this is why these people have to be replaced. Look at other communities that have moved their community forward and made a better life for everybody in their community by giving these people something. Now, you look at how many of these places and I know many of them. Remember in Providence when they had an area there that they turned into there was no traffic. They made it into just walking only, so people could shop and not worry about a parking place. And they provided free parking and shuttle service. And they did these things all over the country. You see these things. Newport, free shuttle. Take the trolley in Newport. You can see a hell of a lot more, and it's going to cost you zero. And they're going to tell you where you're going. They're going to tell you, the Tennis Hall of Fame is our next stop. If you want to stop there, we got blah, blah, blah. Cliff Walk's our next stop. It happens all over the country. They're reinvesting it in their community. And the taxpayers aren't paying it. Over here, we got to pay $77,000 for the thing, and then you got to pay to write it. And who the hell's going to write it? You don't have to see Fall River. You see it every day. And we're not a tourist attraction. These people, they tell that lie that this is going to fix the city, but they never tell you that people are going to make money off this. But is any of that money ever going to be used to make your life easier? The answer to that question is simple. No. No. $88 million of ARPA money. How much did that affect you positively? Zero. You saw a lot of pet projects, but you see it everywhere. I mean, I can go back a couple of decades. When I went to Washington, D.C., to testify in front of the Environmental Protection Agency on a complaint we had filed, we didn't stay in Washington because it's extremely crowded. It's hard to get around, in the evenings and stuff, and it's congested. We stayed in Alexandria, Virginia, which is a suburb right very close. And Alexandria is a very rich, affluent community outside where all the big money people in D.C. they all leave to go to Maryland and Virginia. Alexandria is a beautiful little town. They got all kinds of shops and stuff like that. They had a free shuttle from the hotel down to what they called Old Town, Alexandria. You didn't have to pay. Walked out of the hotel, got on a shuttle, went down there. You had all kinds of shops to shop in. Yeah, making money for the people, huh? Making money. These businesses are subsidizing that. Why? We also took the shuttle to the airport. Because you know what else was at the airport? The metro, the subway, the T, whatever you want to call it over there. I think it's the metro in D.C. Best subway I've ever been on, because the thing was like immaculate, because it's federal money. They just blow money. You could eat off the floors and those things. But we didn't even have to take a cab or drive a car through the traffic. We took the shuttle to the airport, and there was a T stop at the airport. We'd get off the shuttle, get on the metro, take the metro into D.C., and we went in and did our testimony. But this is convenience for people to shop, encourages people to go. You're going to go to a city like Fall River, you got 3 things to see, and now you got to go, well, I got to pay for parking, I got to pay for the trolley, I got to pay for this, I got to go find a kiosk, I got to do this, I got to do that. No, cities who really want to entice people put some bait out. Don't pick their pockets as soon as they hit the city limits with nickel and diming them to death. But no, we're being negative. We're not being negative, we're being factual. I'm not talking from theory. I've been there. I've been to Alexandria. I've traveled most of the world, actually. I've never seen anything like this. Fall River, they just keep telling you lies, and you keep believing it, and you keep voting these people in. $88 million down the toilet, nothing happens. All kinds of new jobs, all kinds of pay raises, but we're broke. But your water bill's going to triple. Your taxes are going up. Your houses are out of reach now. Tax rates going up. They just keep spending money. And what happened? They're still negotiating pay raises. So it's about the commitment to the people, our elected representatives, and I hate to get back to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but it clearly states they are at all times our substitutes and agents and answerable to us. Well, they're not answering to us. We don't even count. They think they got elected to do whatever the hell they want, not what we want. And the only way we can change that is get their asses out of those seats and replace them with people who understand that we're paying, and we pay our taxes, we pay our fees. We expect you to try to give us some of that back and make this city better for us to live in. Not people that we hope are going to show up here. And with that, CJ, back to you.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. And all I'm seeing right now is a bunch of birds in the bush. And recently some painted pigeons. We've been there. We've done that. We've seen it. In all the years that I've lived in this city, I've seen it over and over and over and over and over again. We keep trying to reinvent the wheel. Guess what? The wheel is flat. We need a new rim. We can't reinvent it because the one we have is broken. And it's broken because we keep putting the same broken people into office who continue to break it to make sure it's not fixed. When you have people working to line the pockets of their friends, their political allies, and their political contributors, that's what you call corruption. And Fall River is one of the most corrupt cities in the state. I think Fall River tries to compete with the State House to see who's worse. Because remember, I follow the law all the time, unless I hit a car and then I'm not going to stay there. I follow the law all the time. But if I hit a car, as long as nobody saw me, that's okay. What's it going to take, people? And I know what I'm going to hear already. If you can do a better job, you run for office. Well, guess what? Unlike many of you, I have put my name on a ballot. Unlike many of you, I have presented valid arguments. But because of many of you, I did not get elected because at that time I had the wrong letter after my name. Because in Fall River, we don't elect Republicans. We don't elect conservatives. We don't elect independents. We don't elect unenrolled. We only elect the Democrats. Okay? And let me say that again, the Democrats. Someday you'll learn, hopefully not too late, that you've got to stop voting party and start voting issues. Listen to the candidates. Listen to what they have to say. Listen to what they want to do. And more importantly, don't only listen to what they want to do, listen to what the plan is to make it happen. Because words are useless otherwise. And we hear a lot of words because the one thing a politician can do is talk a line of bullshit that nobody can get out of. You drown in it. It's worse than quicksand.
Well, CJ, the thing that, look, people can have different opinions. You've been in Minnesota. You've lived in other places. I've, lived in other places, and when I was in the military, and I saw a lot of the world too, and I saw different things. And so you look at the way things are handled. The propaganda machine that's always been Fall River. We've been the laughing stock of the state for years, and their response is always they're lying. Don't believe your lying eyes. This isn't really a dump that we created. We're doing great. It's like Joe Biden saying, "Well, there's no inflation." Okay, it was 9.5% when I get in. No, it wasn't. It was 1.4. But the reality is that this is what they do. They lie. And that's the thing that bothers me more than anything else. Look, I don't care. You want to like a guy that can't walk, read off a paper, and can't string a coherent sentence together and think he could be the leader of the free world? Well, I have to defer back to Mark Twain. You can't argue with stupid. And I had a conversation about that last night. Somebody was telling me how, Trump stole those top secret documents. I said, well, number one, he didn't steal them. He was the president. He can keep them. Now, how he stored them and whether he should have given them back, and that's a legal issue. But then I said, well, how about Joe Biden's having top secret documents? Oh, he gave them back. Really? I said, do you realize he wasn't supposed to have top secret documents? The President of the United States can actually have top secret documents. The issue is over to store them. But he shouldn't have had them. He took those when he was a senator. That's a crime. And I said, how about Hillary? 33 emails with top secret stuff in them on a private server. And they bleached them. Even the FBI said she committed crimes, but we're not going to prosecute her. Oh, yeah, but that's, I said, no. I said, do you realize how illogical and stupid your position is? You don't like Trump personally. and that's fine. You don't like him. I don't have to like my plumber if he'll do a better job on my plumbing. But you're going to pick a president because you don't dislike him as much as the other guy. But what you're telling me is like he may be guilty of mishandling documents, but that's going to be ultimately proven one way or another. Yet your guy has done something even worse because he wasn't entitled to those documents, and Hillary was the Secretary of State, not the President of the United States, and a private server. But it's okay for them because you like them. I said, you can't understand it's a double standard? Then the but. No, there's no buts. I said, you know what you just told me? If I commit a murder and you like me, the way you rationalize things in your brain, you will say to everybody, he shouldn't be prosecuted. He only killed one person. I know a guy that killed 5 people. Go prosecute him. You can't grasp the fact that if something illegal is done, people have to be prosecuted regardless of who they are, whether it's Trump, Biden, Hillary Clinton, or a rich guy. But that's not the way it works because we all know about human nature and power, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And you know something? It was like talking to the floor down here, talking to my hardwood floor. He walked away mumbling and like he couldn't argue because what he was saying was ludicrous. But that's the way they roll. Take care of your friends. How many things has Paul Coogan covered up? That's the way they roll. You're my friend. You're the head of security. You get to be on paid administrative leave for a year. After you done something after you had done something you should have been fired for. Oh, you're the superintendent that I hired, and you committed all kinds of abuses of your power. But we'll just shovel dirt on that when they cover it up. But if I don't like you, we're gonna throw you in jail. We're gonna fire you. We're gonna threaten everything under the world. This is the problem with politics. These people, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And they are, as CJ said, I've seen a lot of corruption in my time, but I've never seen it as bad as this administration. But I'm going to tell you, this is one of the most corrupt places I have ever seen. And it's amazing how these people still eat the pablum or just don't vote. They give up. And, again, we've got the most critical election of our lifetime coming up. And then after that, we got a city election that will be the most critical election in this city's life. So let's see what happens. And with that, CJ, back to you.
This administration in this city makes the Cianci administration look like children. I mean, Buddy got caught with his hand in the till. Jazel got caught with his hand in the till. And now there's questions about whether Jazel's hand was even in the till. I don't know. But anyway, you look at it, it's corruption. And Paul ran on the fact that he wasn't going to be corrupt. I'm going to be transparent. When has he been transparent? I'm going to follow the law. When does he follow the law?
Didn't he also say honest?
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. When has he been honest? We deserve better. And we are responsible for what we get. So when you don't vote, just remember, especially this weekend, thousands of men and women have died to give you the right to vote. And this weekend, I hope you remember them. And when the ballot box opens up, I hope you remember them then and you vote for what they died for. We hear it all the time. Okay? All gave some, but some gave all. Are you going to write that check that your ass can't cash? I don't think so.
And we will be here on Memorial Day at the
Yes,
regular
we
time
will.
to remind you of this, because I will, all those men who died for our country and women who died for our country throughout all the wars should never be forgotten and should be remembered. And all those who served and then came back to live a life have to be, as CJ said, you know, all gave some and some gave all. And I will be at the cemetery to see if the flag's on my father's grave. And but it is a time that we should remember the sacrifices made to make this country the best country in the world to live in. And it's rapidly deteriorating because people forget that every day. The age of entitlement is taken over, and we're going to remember that these people, our greatest generation, suffered through the Depression. They were all hardened by the Depression, and they went and served their country. And these two gentlemen, who I knew personally and was honored to know both of them. As a matter of fact, I used to introduce Joe and Manny at every Christmas party. And the last Christmas party we had, Joe didn't make it, but he was sick, and Manny was there. And I always made sure that we stood up and said, "There's our last remaining World War II veteran in the City Retirees Organization," and not be forgotten. Let all the men not be forgotten, and the women who died for our country. This is a very, very important holiday. It is not about hamburgers and hot dogs. It is about sacrifice for our nation.
And remember, this isn't Armistice Day. This is not Veterans Day. It's Memorial Day. And that should hold a greater meaning to you than Armistice Day, than Veterans Day. Memorial Day should be more important to you. I want to thank you all for watching. Enjoy your holiday weekend. Please get out there and show some respect for those that have given their lives in defense of this country and of your rights. Be safe, be angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Monday at 10 a.m. Have a great day.